Yeah, it was brilliant. Thanks for everyone coming down. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. Come on. I also want to take a moment.
This is boxing, first of all. So I've been asking him to fight. He hasn't wanted to fight. So now, being that the fight is made, it's a lot of animosity.
They walked in confident, grinning, taunting, showboating. But within seconds, everything changed. This is 60 minutes of the coldest reality checks in combat sports. Combat sports may be built on discipline, strategy, and years of training, but the truth is simple arrogance is the quickest way to walk directly into a knockout. Across boxing history, countless fighters have stepped into the ring overflowing with confidence, taunting their opponents, dancing around, dropping their guard, and believing their swagger alone could intimidate the person standing across from them. But the ring exposes every weakness, and it has no mercy for fighters who value showboating more than defense. Time and time again, cocky fighters discover that the same hands they mocked can silence them in an instant. One of the clearest examples came in May 2022, when Brazilian fighter Leandro Silva stepped into the ring against powerful puncher Marek Mazuch. Silva spent most of the fight dancing, clowning, and treating the ring like a stage rather than a battlefield. He focused more on entertainment than boxing, doing little moves to show off while the crowd cheered. But dancing doesn't win fights. Punches do. In round 2, Mazuch timed a devastating shot that erased all the confidence Silva carried with him. In one clean punch, Silva dropped flat onto the canvas, his showboating instantly punished. A similar story unfolded when trash-talking American fighter Curtis Stevens met former world champion David Lemieux in 2017. Stevens boldly promised pain for Lemieux, comparing it to unbearable toothache-level suffering, but those confident predictions became bitter irony. In round 3, Lemieux unleashed a monstrous left hook that turned Stevens' lights out immediately. Stevens lay motionless on the canvas, experiencing the very pain he wanted to inflict. Words meant nothing when Lemieux's fist connected, proving once again that the ring demands humility. In another heated matchup, Russian powerhouse Alexei Papin faced Ismail Siha. At the face-off, Siha dismissed Papin with disrespectful gestures, but Papin remembered. When the bell rang, he wasted no time punishing the arrogance, unloading a brutal attack that ended the fight in the very first round, leaving Siha unable to defend himself. His boldness dissolved instantly in the face of Papin's precision and power. Then there was the moment Jeff Horn reminded Anthony Mundine, a veteran known for nonstop trash talk, that loud words don't save you once the punches start flying. Mundine ran his mouth endlessly during the press conference, threatening Horn and acting as though he was undefeatable. But on the night of the fight, Horn finished the job in just 96 seconds. A powerful sequence of shots sent Mundine crashing down, his ego collapsing along with him. One of the most famous modern examples of a cocky fighter collapsing under pressure came from Ryan Garcia versus Raul Rodriguez in 2018. Rodriguez tried everything, pushing Garcia at the face-off, trash-talking constantly, taunting him mid-fight, dropping his hands, even daring Garcia to hit him. But Garcia didn't fall for the mind games. He stayed composed, disciplined, and focused. In round 1, he dropped to Rodriguez with a clean hook, yet even after that knockdown, Rodriguez kept clowning, sticking his chin out and swinging wildly. Garcia remained patient. Then in round 5, he shut the show down for good with a fast, destructive hook that sent Rodriguez crashing to the canvas. All the talking and taunting ended the moment Garcia's fist connected. The danger of overconfidence also appeared when Monty Barrett mocked New Zealand's Shane Cameron before their 2012 fight. Barrett refused to touch gloves, trash-talked mercilessly, and promised to tear Cameron's head off. But Cameron stayed calm and calculated. In round 4, he landed a perfectly timed punch that knocked Barrett out cold and crowned Cameron the new WBO Oriental and Asia-Pacific champion. Danny Garcia versus Ron Salka was another reminder that mocking an elite fighter is never a good strategy. Salka showboated, taunted, and attempted to provoke Garcia throughout the buildup. But once the fight began, Garcia unleashed a ruthless combination that sent Salka crashing down 3 times, finishing him in brutal fashion. Garcia didn't waste words. His fist did the talking. Mindless arrogance also led to the downfall of British fighter Rashid Kassim when he faced Joe Murray. Kassim tried to intimidate Murray in the build-up and even got into a near brawl during the face-off. But in the fight, Murray dominated the action, knocking Kassim down early and finally finishing him in round 6 with a perfectly timed right hand. Kassim's disrespect did nothing but make the knockout more satisfying for fans. One of the most dramatic examples of a cocky fighter paying the ultimate price came when James Kirkland stepped into the ring with Canelo Alvarez in 2015. Kirkland promised nonstop chaos, claiming he would break Canelo and overwhelm him. But once they exchanged punches, it was clear Canelo possessed far more skill and power. After dropping Kirkland in round 1, Canelo ended the show in round 3 with a picture-perfect right hand that knocked Kirkland out cold. The knockout remains one of the best of Canelo's career. Heavyweight Daniel Dubois reminded the boxing world why taunting a puncher is dangerous when he fought Razvan Kojanu in 2019. Kojanu clowned around, stuck his tongue out, and tried to bait Dubois into mistakes. Dubois didn't react. He simply lined up the perfect moment. In round 2, he landed a crushing left hook, followed by a right hand that dropped Kojanu instantly, ending the fight and silencing all the unnecessary theatrics. Perhaps one of the most humiliating examples came when Emmanuel Charr faced Alexander Povetkin. Charr spent the early rounds showboating, mocking Povetkin, and daring him to hit harder. But Povetkin is not someone you provoke. In round 7, he landed a devastating right hand that sent Charr collapsing in a heap, ending the fight immediately. Povetkin punished arrogance with a single destructive punch. Showboating backfired again when Jorge Paez fought Augie Sanchez. Paez treated the ring like his personal circus, hands down, dancing, head movement exaggerated to entertain. But Sanchez stayed patient, waiting for the perfect opening. In round 7, he struck with a clean left hook that knocked Paez out instantly. The knockout was a brutal lesson in discipline versus ego. Even legends have punished arrogance, like Roy Jones Jr. in his fight against Thomas Tate. Tate mocked Jones before the fight, danced during the introductions, and treated the moment lightly. But once the bell rang, Jones dissected him with speed and accuracy. In round 2, Jones dropped Tate with a vicious punch, ending the fight and proving that disrespecting a great fighter is a dangerous game. Sometimes the punishment is even more embarrassing than the knockout itself, like the moment when a Muay Thai fighter known as Big Shot fell out of the ring during his entrance, then spent the actual fight clowning. In round 2, his opponent knocked him face first to the canvas, ending both the fight and the comedy act. Albert Pagara delivered another brutal reminder when Kawamani wasted the entire fight taunting, meditating mid-round, and clowning instead of defending. Eventually, Pagara fired a powerful body shot that folded Kawamani instantly. The moment he dropped, all the theatrics disappeared and reality hit hard. Even fighters who claimed to be men among boys often discovered the truth in the ring, like Ryland Charlton, who mocked British prospect Adam Azim, calling him inexperienced and weak. But once the fight started, it was clear Azim was the superior boxer. He dropped Charlton multiple times and finished him brutally in the second round, proving confidence doesn't equal skill. Olympic superstar Bahodir Jalolov faced a similar situation when his opponent Jack Mulawai spent the fight taunting, shrugging off punches, and pretending nothing hurt. But Jalolov kept landing, and eventually Mulawai couldn't hide anymore. After multiple knockdowns, Jalolov ended the fight with a crushing blow. Even during small shows, the ring delivers massive lessons. Cornelius Whitlock knocked down Greg Jackson, then mocked him, danced, and celebrated too early. In round 3, Jackson returned the favor with a powerful knockout of his own. Whitlock's dance quickly turned into an embarrassing memory, and few fighters talked more trash before a fight than Alex Hannon did to Andrei Mikhailovich. Hannon insulted him, shoved him, and even cheap-shotted him before the fight. But inside the ring, Mikhailovich stayed calm and delivered 2 heavy knockdowns before finishing the fight in round 2. Hannon never recovered, not physically or mentally. Arrogance inside a ring becomes even more dangerous when a fighter starts believing their own hype, like Irish fighter Stephen McAfee, who mocked his opponent Eric Donovan before they even touched gloves. McAfee raised his hands, smirked, and taunted constantly, convinced he could bully Donovan. But once the punches started flying, Donovan's superior skill became clear immediately. He timed his counters with precision, forcing McAfee backward until a clean shot dropped him and ended the fight in brutal fashion. McAfee's showboating disappeared the moment he hit the canvas. Another painful lesson unfolded when YouTuber Adam Saleh faced influencer Waleed Sharks. Their rivalry was filled with trash talk, pushing, and nonstop arguments. But when the bell rang, Saleh quickly realized Waleed was far more prepared. Waleed dropped him multiple times and earned a dominant knockout victory, proving once again that social media confidence doesn't translate into real skill. Even fighters who try to intimidate with strange tactics find themselves punished just the same. Like the boxer who started a match by walking forward with his chin raised, mocking his opponent's power. Instead of being intimidated, the other boxer fired a clean shot that sent the showboater collapsing backward. The knockout became viral proof that one careless moment can end a fight. Another example came from the world of bare-knuckle boxing, when a man named Slaps rambled, shouted, and screamed aggressively at his opponent, trying to scare him before the fight. When the fight began, he threw wild, uncontrolled punches that missed by a mile. His opponent stayed calm, waited, and eventually landed a clean shot that put Slaps to sleep on his feet before he fell limp to the ground. Sometimes the most surprising knockouts come when an underdog capitalizes on a moment of arrogance, like when an unknown club fighter faced a taller, flashier opponent who showboated nonstop. Hands down, chin forward, bouncing around the ring. The flashy fighter tried to taunt by leaning into punches, but one miscalculation led to a brutal knockout. A single counter right hand flattened him, leaving the crowd stunned as the underdog celebrated the upset. A similar humiliation struck when a fighter decided to imitate Roy Jones Jr.'s trademark taunting, hands behind his back, leaning forward, daring his opponent to swing. But unlike Jones, this man lacked the reflexes and timing required. His opponent launched a powerful punch directly into his exposed jaw, knocking him out instantly and proving that copying legends without the talent is dangerous. Even in kickboxing, arrogance is punished, such as when a flashy striker mocked his opponent repeatedly with exaggerated head movement and clown-like footwork. After minutes of taunting, he stepped forward with his guard down and was met by a devastating high kick that slammed into his head and sent him crashing to the mat unconscious. The knockout became a viral clip, symbolizing exactly why showboating can be disastrous. Another cautionary tale unfolded when a fighter began dancing mid-round, turning his back and swinging his arms loosely as if he were in a music video instead of a combat sport. His opponent saw the perfect opportunity and drilled him with a punch that shut the lights off instantly, leaving the dancer collapsed on the floor before he even understood what happened. In one of the most bizarre moments in small venue boxing history, a cocky fighter tried to embarrass his opponent by sticking his tongue out and leaning forward repeatedly. He kept daring the other man to hit him. The invitation was accepted. A perfectly timed right hand landed flush, and the arrogant fighter folded like a chair, unconscious before he hit the canvas. The referee didn't even bother counting. Another dramatic example came when a fighter, after dominating early, began mocking his opponent with exaggerated gestures and turning his head away. He paid for it seconds later when a thunderous punch landed clean and knocked him stiff, turning a fight he was winning comfortably into a humiliating loss. The theme continues over and over. The moment a fighter grows careless, bored, or overconfident, the knockout becomes inevitable. In one iconic amateur bout, a tall, flashy fighter danced backward with his hands down, trying to imitate Anderson Silva's famous head movement. But he didn't have Silva's timing or skill. His opponent caught him with a lightning-fast hook, dropping him instantly in one of the most brutal amateur knockouts ever recorded. Another fighter, convinced he was untouchable, started swinging wildly with no defense, taunting the man in front of him. His opponent remained composed, waited for his chance, and fired a clean uppercut that launched the arrogant fighter backward like a rag doll. The same outcome unfolded when a fighter who called himself The Show began clowning from the opening bell, dancing, waving his arms, sticking out his chin. The other fighter didn't react. He simply picked his moment. Midway through round one, he timed a sharp right hand that landed so cleanly that The Show collapsed in a heap, unconscious before he hit the mat. Fans laughed at the irony. And then there was the infamous fight where one boxer pretended to be hurt, wobbling dramatically as a joke, only for his opponent to fire a genuine knockout punch that dropped him instantly. The referee waved the fight off as the crowd roared with disbelief. Even fighters with genuine skill sometimes fall victim to their own ego, as seen when a talented but arrogant southpaw kept lowering his hands to invite a punch. He received exactly what he asked for, a straight right that sent him falling backward in a knockout that instantly went viral. One of the most dramatic stories came from a face-off where a cocky fighter shoved his opponent aggressively and refused to apologize. When fight night arrived, he tried to dominate early, but his opponent remained calm and patient. In round 2, the arrogant fighter threw a looping punch with his chin exposed, and the calm fighter answered with a clean counter that knocked him out cold. It was poetic justice, just seconds of arrogance erased by 1 second of technique. The pattern repeats across every combat sport. Fighters who respect the game stay sharp, defend themselves, and stay focused and survive longer. Fighters who act careless eventually pay the price. Overconfidence leaves the chin open. Taunting breaks concentration. Disrespect leads to mistakes. And in the ring, one mistake is all it takes. Every fighter mentioned here learned the same painful lesson. Arrogance does not make you stronger, faster, or smarter. Confidence without discipline becomes a weakness. And the ring, unlike the crowd, does not cheer for arrogance. It punishes it. These knockouts stand as reminders that boxing is not a place for showboating without skill. The fighters who mocked, danced, dropped their hands, or underestimated their opponents all shared the same ending, a sudden, violent reminder of reality. Meanwhile, the fighters who stayed patient, disciplined, and focused walked away with victory. In combat sports, respect and awareness are weapons just as important as punches and footwork. When cocky fighters ignore those principles, the knockout becomes inevitable. This is why arrogance is the fastest way to get knocked out cold, and why the ring will always expose fighters who think they're untouchable.